Hi friends, Rebecca here, the Dragon Librarian from Farmington Community Library, and my friend Gallie and I are here today to talk to you about some really awesome books that we think you might like. Well, it's the last week in October, right? And you know what that means? Halloween is this weekend. Hooray! So we're going to round out the rest of this month with talking about some spooky books, some fun books, books that will get you in the mood for this Halloween this weekend. And they're just books that I think you will overall really like. So the first one is called Bunny by Mona Awad. Bunny. Now, sometimes I think, as scary as monsters and ghosts and things that go bump in the night can be, I think people can be even scarier. And that's what this book is about. This book is crazy pants. And it's about Samantha, this young college student who's going to this small New England college. And she's in this writing program. And it's about these girls that she meets, that she becomes friends with. And they're more sinister than they would outwardly appear. And it's about the dark musings of the imagination and how friendships can go very, very wrong. This book is awesome. It's very scary, but definitely in a more psychological sort of way. And if you think that Mean Girls can be some of the scariest monsters, then you will definitely enjoy this book. It is a wild ride. It's very crazy. I doubt you will read anything that's even remotely like it ever again. It's a very unique book. And it's definitely one you'll be thinking about long after you finish it. And that is Bunny by Mona Awad. Now, the next book I want to talk about is actually part of a series. This is the first one. It's called Dead Witch Walking. And this is part of the Hollows series by Kim Harrison. And the reason I want to talk about this is because it's really not scary. It's not a scary book or series at all. But it is an urban fantasy series. And I like to think of urban fantasy as fantasy light. Not that it's any better or worse than epic fantasy, but it's fantasy that takes place within a city or within the world that you already know. It's not a new world. It's not new languages or anything that you have to learn. The world building is very, most of the time, simply in a city and just with supernatural stuff going on around it. And that's what this series is. It takes place in Cincinnati, and humans live alongside vampires and werewolves and witches and pixies and fairies. And it's about this woman named Rachel Morgan, who is a witch, and it's just basically about her adventures. And this is a really great series to read if you're not into scary things, because it still has a lot of really cool creatures in it, like the vampires and werewolves and such. But it's just a fun series. It's just a fun fantasy series. It's not anything too dark or too deep or too scary or really scary at all. So if you're looking for something to read this week that is not too scary or out of this world crazy, then this is a really good one to go with. That's Dead Witch Walking. That's the first book in the series. I think there are 13 books total so far. Okay, and last but not least, Dracul by Dacre, Stoker and J.D. Barker. Dracul. Now, this is obviously, what you probably can infer from the title, is about Dracula. The thing that's very cool about this book, well, there's a couple things. The first thing is it's written as almost like a prequel to Dracula. It's about Bram Stoker and his experiences as a child and young man and why that maybe led him to write the book Dracula. Obviously, it's fiction, but it's a really cool imagining of Bram as a young person and the scary things that he does go through. The other thing that's really cool about this is that it is co-authored by actually a descendant of the original Bram Stoker. How cool is that? So you know he really did his research. You can tell this book is very well researched. It's very well written. I've actually read it every October for the past 2 years because it is super, super scary. Not in a over the top way, but definitely in a psychological way. And there's lots of shadows and there's lots of mystery and there's lots of things that are just a little bit spooky that can't be explained. And it's fantastic. It's also really fun to read before or after a reread of Dracula, or if you haven't ever read the classic tale of Dracula, maybe read that and then read this, and it will enhance that experience tenfold. I guarantee it. So this is a really creepy book, but also very, very good, and it's a great companion to the classic tale, and that is Dracul. Well, that's what I have for you guys today. I hope they sounded really interesting to you. If they did, please feel free to pick them up at the Farmington Community Library. We do have curbside service still going on, and also grab and go service. So if you wanted to come in and browse for these books, you can do that as well. Thank you so much, my friends. Have a great rest of the day and happy Halloween.